Okay, so for this lecture, I want to talk about the art of reading, um, which is I want you to get your mind into the framework of you're going to be doing a lot of reading in this class, and some of the readings that I'm going to be giving you are going to be challenging. And I want you to think about reading in different ways. It's daily. We read street signs, or we read text messages, or, maybe simple emails. But that's not the kind of reading that we do in academic classes. In academic classes, we're going to be reading, thought provoking things, different types of essays. So basically, when you sit down to start doing reading for this class, I want you to have the kind of frame that is different from the type of reading you do every day. So, as I say here, let's begin to prep your brain. So, when you're going to sit, you should sit down and have the reading in front of you and have a pen in your hand and say, look, I'm going to be actively reading. I'm going to, not let distractions come in my way. I'm putting the phone away from me. I'm not going to be checking Facebook every 2 seconds, and I'm going to read this essay or whatever the assignment is. And for this time, I'm going to be just doing this. I'm going to be focusing my brain. Some ways to get yourself into this mode here: asking yourself some reading questions. What do you know about the topic that you've been assigned? Where does it fit within this course? Why was this assigned to me? There's got to be a reason, right? What do I think about the author's ideas? So go into it with questions. Don't go into it blindly. Another area that I always stress is to make sure that you pay attention to the vocabulary. When you're reading something, you come across words that you do not know. I say you need to make them into words to know, words that you will know. You might want to keep a running list. At the very least, you want to maybe write in the text that you were reading right then and there, and go and find the definition of unfamiliar words. Because while a lot of times you can figure out stuff in context, which is good, that's a way to understand. It's also, the more sophisticated your readings, the more of a nuance there is to words. So while you may have the context, it's important that you actually have the true definition so you can understand the subtleties that are within the reading. So you can have a dictionary, those things, like books with paper, but you can also go online. There's dictionary.com, or there's merriam-webster.com. There's a lot of, I think you just type it into Google and it'll show up. So there's a lot of ways for you to get your definitions. So let's look at active reading a little bit more. When you are trying to comprehend something and you're confused or you're unsure, here are some techniques. Identify what the main idea of the reading is, or what you think the main idea is, and underline it, or write in the margins. Something that will get your brain to start thinking, okay, this is what this is about, and consciously put it into your head that this is what I am reading about. I always stress these things, to make marginal notes. I know that there's an ability to rent books, or sometimes you borrow books, etc. If you can, you will be greatly served by having the ability to write on your text, so you can interact with the text. That makes your reading from passive to active, because the actual process of writing on what you're reading is making connections within the neurons of your brain. So you see a key idea jot it down in the margin. A word that you don't know, underline it, and then write in the margin what the definition is. These things that you do are going to make you a better reader. When you are more involved with the text, you will become a better reader just by virtue of this kind of practice. So I've already discussed this. Writing questions in the margins. I don't understand this part. I'm really into margin writing. It also will help you later on when you need to write a paper about a certain work, or you need to write a journal paper. You can go back to the text and you can see what you marked up, see what you thought about the text, and you can re-involve yourself from your earlier readings. Some people are very visual, which is this. You can, you can represent what you are reading and make your own graphic organizers. You can, write an outline, or you can write circles and put ideas within them. It's up to you. What kind of a learner are you, and what kind of a reader are you? What helps you gather the information in your head? Another technique here is for every paragraph that you read, don't go on to the next until you have determined what is this paragraph about. Can you take with the main idea? Can you summarize the main idea of the paragraph in your own words? All of these kind of techniques, again, are helping you to build a stronger reading response. So let's look at this overall, a few steps, some kind of checklists. As you are reading, what kind of examples are being used? What is the author giving you? Can you come up with your own? I was just reading something this morning, and as I was reading it, I was speaking to the text itself, and whoever the author was, I was going back and going, no, that was not, you're not speaking correctly. You're not, what your point on your topic is incorrect. So in my mind, I'm kind of like interacting with the text. Not that the author cared, right? She couldn't hear me. Anyway, so you can look and see, is the author, bringing in factors, anything that you think is missed and should have been included, because you're bringing your prior knowledge into your reading. This is like for arguments and persuasive papers. Are the main ideas supported, or are you trying to be, is the author trying to manipulate you? Is there, slim evidence? Do you agree or disagree with the author? Why? Why do you think what you think? You want to be active in this. Again, for an argument, the author might present you with a conclusion. Is that the conclusion that you would come up with? Again, why? Do you see any biases? Well, you know what? Especially when you're reading arguments or persuasion, you're definitely going to see a lot of bias by the authors, because that's the reason why they're writing the essay. They're writing to persuade you or to argue a point. So take note of that. Figure it out. When you start, in your mind, when you start adding to your foundation of knowledge, you can say, well, I just read this by this author, but then I had previously read this and this and this. So where does this new reading fit into my prior knowledge? Am I getting different information? Is this a new way of looking at something? Is it making me think in a different way? So then compare and contrast your new exposure to what you already have. And that's how we build a foundation of knowledge. And again, that would be here too. What connections do you see between the texts? So this is just a brief way of giving you some techniques on how to read interactively and to understand your reading a little bit deeper. If you begin at the beginning, sit down, I'm going to be thinking, I'm going to be actively reading, you will get a lot more out of the text. If you define words and they become words that you do know, the next time you read and you see that word, you don't have to go to the dictionary because you already own that word. You know what it means, so you increase your vocabulary. All of these techniques not only will help you academically, but overall, our culture likes and rewards literate people. And the better you can read, the better you can write, the higher your vocabulary, it helps you out. So, thanks for listening.